Speaker, lack of housing, affordability of housing and availability of housing is such a critical issue for many Australians, and more so for my community in Fowler. As many members would have heard from me when I rise to speak in the House, I constantly ask for measures and call on our government into actions to help alleviate the pains and struggles my community is experiencing when it comes to affordable rents, affordable housing, cheaper energy bills and other cost of living issues. With my Fowler electorate being amongst the most affected electorates in rental and mortgage affordability in the country, facing struggles with wait times for social and affordable housing exceeding over 10 years in most cases, I have recently organised a housing forum in my Fowler electorate. To get to the heart of the housing crisis, we need to bring the various levels of governments together, as well as the people who play an important role in this sector to help progress towards a solution. I was therefore extremely grateful for the collaborative spirit from Traders in Purple and Urban Development Institute of Australia, who helped me pull together a group of willing individuals from local, state and federal levels, along with community housing providers, to be part of the Fowler Housing Forum and shared their expertise in an effort to find concrete solutions for the housing crisis that we are currently experiencing. I'm approached weekly about housing issues, as I'm sure many in this House are also confronted when they return to their electorates. We know it's a state issue, but many constituents who do not distinguish between state and federal levels visit my office with compassionate and compelling circumstances, most of which have been left unconsidered for social housing for years. A compassionate case that comes to mind from my area of Fowler involves a single mother of 3 children living amongst hazardous mould growth and rat infestation house who struggled for 19 years for social housing. This is just one example that showcases the gravity of our nation's housing crisis, and while many regions are affected, it's really acutely felt in southwest Sydney. Housing issues shouldn't be considered as a state issue. Rather, the federal, state and local governments should collaborate on their ideas for a better future, one where affordable housing is a reality rather than a struggle for our next generation. Speaking of the next generation, I was fortunate enough to sponsor 4 young people from my electorate of Fowler, Kyoko Nagatsuka, Mario Compart, Nikki Chan and Basin Oshana, to attend the National Leadership Forum here in Canberra. Over 4 days, they met young leaders from across Australia and the Asia-Pacific region, as well as prominent politicians from our country. The experience enabled them to have valuable conversations with current leaders and broaden their awareness of important matters with notable members of our parliament. The feedback obtained from these 4 delegates and others that I have met throughout the first day of the forum were extremely encouraging and full of optimism for the future of our nation and its next generation of leaders. According to Kyoko, she expressed that it profoundly enriched my personal and global awareness. And Mario shared, it was transformative and gave me confidence and agency to pursue my leadership aspirations. I want to acknowledge the team behind the National Leadership Forum, and particularly its Managing Director, Andy Skidmore, for their commitment to this program. Since it was first established in 1997, over 3,500 young people have participated from 20+ countries, and more than 53,000 volunteer hours have been given to the forum to grow and expand. The forum has become one of Australia's preeminent leadership development initiatives, each year gathering a community devoted to serving and encouraging young Australians to step up, contribute and push themselves outside of their comfort zones. I would also like to acknowledge the local businesses who sponsored these young people's attendance: the Cabramatta Golf Club, our Lansvale Motor Group, our Cabramatta Optus retail store and Rennie's Bar and Grill. These local businesses, despite the challenges they're facing with their businesses, were generous enough and gracious enough to see the importance of investing small fund into the growth of these young people. Kyoko, Mario, Nikki and Basin wouldn't have been able to experience the forum without the help and support of these businesses, which we are grateful for. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.